Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today it is with great pride that I am unboxing something now iconic from McIntosh. Their C53 top of the line single box solid state preamp. It's staggeringly good, almost immeasurably low noise floor, the ability to select inputs from a variety of analog, in fact there's 9 analog and 7 digital inputs in a preamp, fully balanced. It's got a stunning headphone output. Every input, moving coil, moving magnet, analog, RCA, balanced, all beautifully appointed, all beautiful as far as the attention to detail and sonic characteristics. This is stunning, and it's wonderful to be able to share it with you today. McIntosh. Been doing it a while now. Did it well the first day. Have done it even better today. McIntosh's packaging is very classic, in fact almost as iconic as the products themselves. They're all double boxed to ensure that the most robust of delivery methods can be utilised and still have this product arrive to you in one piece. These are all taped sealed with McIntosh's factory tape. There's model and serial number information on a scannable code on one end. Obviously the box is stapled together to give you an implication of the quality. Again, more information. And tipping up we understand the size again. Now opening these is very straightforward. I mean, it's a simple enough slice across the McIntosh branded packing tape. Then a simple lift and cut the rest of the way. Once the box is open at this point, we get a glimpse of the care that they have taken as far as the inner box. It's sitting positioned inside closed cell foam to ensure that impact or corner damage is never going to touch this product or leave you in a situation where you're dealing with something that might have been less than ideally handled in freight. As far as lifting these things out, the easiest is simply to utilise the handles that it has and pull it out of the box. Now, the outer box has nothing remaining in it, so it's a simple enough task to get rid of it. Now again, as I alluded to the packaging that they have done, the big chunks of closed cell foam support the smaller inner carton suspended for transit to ensure that it really can't get damaged. The handles have proven their worth already as far as being able to get it out, and then it is sealed across a curved flap. Opening that part's very straightforward as always, where it's a simple enough follow of the curve with a craft knife. Once that part is free, the unit can be lifted up easily. Now looking at it in its packaging, the first thing that you will see is McIntosh's comprehensive user manual. Now when you've got so many digital inputs to choose from and analog outputs and 3 independently analog inputs and 3 independently selectable outputs, you've got a pretty comprehensive array of features to call upon. So the manual helps with all manner of those things, including allocation of those inputs, switching off things that aren't being used, or even just renaming them so it makes sense if you're incorporating your television or your streamer or something along those lines. It's wonderful to see yet again the care and attention that McIntosh have delivered with their comprehensive user manual. The top of the unit is then held by another piece of closed cell foam, again cut away to ensure that it supports the unit. Leaning it forward, you see it sitting inside yet again enough space around it to be able to take into account all manner of destructive delivery methods. From an accessory perspective, we see a large, long, good quality IEC power cord. We see McIntosh's remote control. Now this is utilised across an array of their products. It's inside its own its own bubble wrap bag, and opening that is very, very straightforward as far as a couple of nicks. The bag itself is held together with some double-sided tape, revealing first a set of AAA batteries, and then the remote control itself. Now the remote has a lovely fit and finish, and it feels like a quality product. Unlike some remotes that end up like an afterthought, this has clearly been part of McIntosh's thought process as the user interface. The battery compartment, and once the batteries are in it, the remote has a lovely fit and finish. There are lights that illuminate as to what you are controlling at the top, and a comprehensive array of buttons. It will also control all of McIntosh's other products too. Now at this point, the preamp itself is best lifted out of the box. I'm just going to put it off to one side for a moment. And we'll see a couple of things. Firstly, a second inlay of cardboard and an array of holes. Now those holes are pre-cut for all manner of different things that might be utilised, but it means that the product can't shift, it can't move. It doesn't matter what happens to this product, air freight, sea freight, couriers, it's not going to move, it's never going to get damaged. And the efforts made in manufacturing have been supported in the efforts to package it and get it to you in one piece. Now the preamp itself, given its reference quality and nature, it's not going to be small, and just glancing at that for a moment we know that this product is beautiful. Rocking it forward just briefly gives us access to the overside of the bag. It's sellotape closed at one side, and these little tags of sellotape can easily be removed. Slipping the bag over is relatively straightforward, and like most, rocking it onto one side enables you to slip the bag off. Now in the bag is a medium-sized desiccant bag with moisture protection, and it's held inside a soft cloth bag, so that should it move around it will never damage or scratch the product. It's wonderful to see that little extra effort. Right, there we have it. What a beautiful, beautiful piece. At the front we'll see an array of different things. Now firstly, McIntosh's central and fibre optic illuminated logo, along with the C53 model number. We see the iconic VU meters, also illuminated with fibre optics to ensure that the illumination is even. On this side we have the main input selector. Now pushing and holding this enables you to then navigate into the setup menu. That's where I alluded to the setup enabling you to select certain inputs, turn off inputs that aren't being used, or just rename them to make it more convenient. It's got a lovely fit and finish to it, and because it has a glass front and everything screen printed underneath, it doesn't matter how many times you touch it, turn it, it's always going to look factory fresh once you've wiped it with a cloth. Beneath the input selector we see a feature that's been very, very well thought out. That's a 6 1/4 headphone socket. Now most preamps and integrated amplifiers, the headphones are kind of an afterthought. Nobody really takes care. Well, McIntosh have, and they've included the HXD output, or their room feel associated with headphone and its performance. What we see next is a couple of selectable outputs. Now there are 3 independent outputs that the preamp can deliver. One is fixed and can't be turned off, but the other 2 can, enabling this unit to become part of something much bigger if you require. Multiple amplifier setups are the most obvious, but potentially distributing this off to another room is also a feature that people might utilise. It's also not uncommon for you to use much larger amplifiers or other configurations in your system, and it's wonderful to see that that feature set has been thought about by McIntosh during its design. We then see its 8-band tone or graphic equaliser. These are analog pots and have a very clear neutral position with a good firm sort of click when turning them. It allows you to back off that harshness that might be in some of the older recordings of vinyl, or maybe deliver a little bit of room equalisation for speakers that may not be placed appropriately, might become a bit boomy at certain times. Central and underneath the logo we see the main IR sensor, and beneath the equaliser their 2-line dot matrix display. It's there that it alludes to not only the inputs and outputs and volume and all of those essential things, but the setup and navigation through that setup. And please, look, as always, hang around for some photographs. I'll light this up and I'll navigate through some of the settings so you can get a good feel for it. Over this side we have the ability to turn on and off the equalisation, like a tone bypass. We also see a basic mute button and a standby. If I understand correctly, pushing and hold the standby will factory reset or reboot the unit. Then we see the volume control. Now it's not just a volume control, and it will change obviously the on-screen display, but it's part of how you navigate through the setup, and the two knobs are utilised in tandem to change and navigate and make changes in its setup. Tilting it forward, and again I'll take some close-up photographs, we see this basic circuit topography of the preamp. With their valve preamps, this is a window into the valves that are glowing, but in this we see a basic circuit design. It's nice that that sort of design element is interchangeable, meaning the preamps look very consistent throughout their range and era. We see a little bit of ventilation. We see that sort of twin chassis design that McIntosh is also renowned for, where the control elements are towards the front and the preamp circuits are well back. Rotating it round, we see its depth, and it's certainly not small. And then it's at the back that the magic kind of happens. The inputs and outputs are numerous and all beautifully appointed. Starting at the boring end, we see the IEC power input, and beside it a USB port specific for servicing the unit and software updating. There's a myriad of control, and that's because these things become the heart of so much more throughout the McIntosh range. You've got basic power and trigger controls that can all be assigned for certain elements. The triggers can turn on and off power amplifiers, which is the most obvious, but also turn off or start a cascade in an automation product if required. There is external controls from both IR and RS232, and then we've got data control ports. There's actually 6, enabling this to be linked to streamers, CD players and all sorts of things from a control perspective. It means the one remote, pointed at just the preamp, can then control any number of different McIntosh products that are connected via that data link. Over this side is one of the reasons this is such a respected preamp. It features, as you would expect from their reference preamp, their reference modular digital to analog converter, the DA2. Now McIntosh themselves have put such an amount of effort and care into this product that it's worth pausing and understanding just how good the DAC is for a solid state preamp. It features all of the digital ins you would require: a USB, asynchronous USB, the MCT input, which is a link for McIntosh's CD transports. It's got 2 optical inputs, both marked optical 1 and 2, and tow coaxial inputs as well. It also features an HDMI input for audio return out of any number of different devices, but also for CDSA CD players like the classic Oppos, which would allow for an audio-only output to a device such as this. It will allow connection to a television perhaps, and any number of other things along those lines. The DAC is a 32-bit quad dual differential DAC. It's absolutely stunning. It's reference in its quality, yet it's also modular, so should one day this preamp, and it's going to last a lifetime, Should one day something unusual pop up on the radar as some input or output you may require, you can always change this module and keep this unit current for the rest of its life. Above the DAC, we see independent inputs for both moving coil and moving magnet, and independent binding post with a lovely fit and finish for the earth. We see a myriad of 4 analog or RCA inputs, beautifully crafted, stunning quality, and the first fixed output, left and right analog or pass-through. If I understand correctly, you can set this up as a theatre bypass, so it's wonderful to see that perhaps a theatre amplifier or other external processor can be utilised. Then we see 1, 2, 3 balanced inputs. Now these are very simply labelled 1, 2 and 3 because again you'll choose to change the label appropriate to how it's being used within the setup. Above all this is the outputs. The first over to this side is the main balanced output. These remain on at all times and it features completely independent circuitry for the balanced outputs and RCA. Then the 2 switchable outputs, which I'd alluded to with the buttons on the front, simply marked output 1 and output 2. Finally, we've got its serial number and some basic cautionary information associated with its power. So, there we have it. McIntosh's best single box preamp, McIntosh C53, unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.